Welcome to Fox Soul's Black Report, your daily source for Black news, Black views, and Black opinions. Today is Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. It's April 27th, and I'm Mimi Brown.
And I'm Romeo.
I'm Demi Lobo. And on today's report, President Biden announcing he's granting the first 3 pardons of his term, targeting those serving low-level drug offenses. We'll tell you what black men is included. Meanwhile, the head of the NAACP wants to talk to Elon Musk about free speech on Twitter. This after Musk plans to transform the app with very little censorship online. Then, a school district is under fire after an assignment made reference to Maya Angelou and sexual abuse. We'll tell you what school officials are reacting to.
Plus, 50 Cent calls out the Starz Network for dropping the ball on a TV series about Snoop Dogg, and Shaq is kicking people out of his home, and we'll let you know who. We have all of that and so much more. This is our voice and our truth, so let's get it.
President Biden announcing he's granting the first 3 pardons of his term. One of them went to a Kennedy-era Secret Service agent named Abraham Bolden Sr. He was the first black Secret Service agent to work on a president's security detail. He served 6 years in a federal prison for allegedly trying to sell a copy of a Secret Service file. Now, he's always maintained his innocence, saying he was being singled out for trying to expose racial injustice within the agency. Now, several key witnesses later admitted they lied at the request of the prosecutor.
President Biden believes that America is a nation of second chances, that none of us are defined by our biggest mistakes, and that people deserve meaningful opportunities for redemption and rehabilitation in prison and support during reentry.
That was Susan Rice, domestic policy advisor to the president. She also wanted to talk about how Biden pardoned 2 people convicted of drug-related charges and commuted the sentences of 75 others for drug-related convictions. Now, these actions come after criminal justice advocates urged Biden to grant leniency for black and Latino people who are often punished severely by judges. You know, this was an amazing thing that Biden did. He also he's rolling out new steps for job training and workforce development. He's actually adding, small business loans that felons can apply for, which is a great thing, and educational opportunities. And he's putting $145 million behind that. And, the other 2 people that we didn't talk about, I just really want to quickly highlight them. Betty Jo Bogan, she's 51. She was convicted of possession with the intent to sell or distribute crack cocaine. She's now out of jail, and she's a single mother. She's not been in any trouble since. And she's had consistent employment. The other guy, Dexter Jackson, he was convicted of using his pool hall to traffic marijuana. And what I love about his story is that now he's taken that pool hall and he's turned it into a cell phone store where he inspires and hires local high school students, giving them on-the-job training. And he also builds low-income housing for his neighborhood. And, that just goes to show that you don't have to lock us up and throw away the key, that we can be rehabilitated and that we can be, purposefully members of society. You know what I mean? We don't have to be tossed under the jail. And I'm not saying that people should not be
Forgotten, so to speak.
Not locked, yes, but they should not also be locked up for their crimes. But we should just not be punished harshly than by everyone else for the same.
Agreed. I mean, if you think about this, we talk about it. People understand what to commute a sentence is. It could be like from 10 years to 5 years, and of course, with time served, you can get out a lot early. But it's important to make sure when people do come back into society, they have the opportunity to be great and do better. And sometimes that just doesn't happen a lot when it comes to people of color, which is unfortunate.
One tweet that Senator Elizabeth Warren, she's always pushing the envelope when it comes to President Biden, always making sure that the American people are aware of the powers that Joe Biden, as president, that he has. So one thing, of course, we'll talk about student loans a little bit later in the show, but also she's been very adamant and very open about federal marijuana and drug convictions. And so she tweeted that she's been pressing President Biden to also make sure this was addressed, federal marijuana and drug convictions. And so with these commutations, he also addressed that all in the same time as well, and made a good step in the right direction. So we're definitely happy about it.
And there's a list for things that President Biden that we're waiting for him to do, but he is doing a lot of great things in the meantime, right?
Yeah.
We agree on that.
Yes, have to acknowledge it.
All right.
All right, so House lawmakers say President Biden, he may extend the pause on federal student loan payments and could even announce a broader cancellation of student loan debt. He made the announcement at a closed-door meeting with members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Now, according to sources in the room, Biden indicated that he may soon issue an executive action to cancel some federal student loan debt. White House spokesperson Jen Psaki says the president will continue looking at options, and a decision could come before the moratorium on payments are set to expire in August. About 40 million Americans owe about $1.7 trillion in student loan debt. And a 2019 study found that canceling at least $50,000 of federal student loans would eliminate all student loan debt for 93% of black low-income households. And so another point that Senator Elizabeth Warren, I will follow her down everywhere she wants to go. I literally love her because she fights for the black American people. She's a white woman, but you can tell, and it feels authentic. And so for me, I do believe that President Biden is moving back the moratorium on paying back because he does have a plan to eventually wipe out all student loan debt. I do believe in my heart of hearts, I don't believe that he went to campaign and got us and won us over only to lie to us. I don't feel like in his heart that was the plan, as well as Kamala Harris. And so I feel like there is a plan to get student loan debt wiped out, but I think he's trying to just do it in pieces.
Maybe you're right, Demi. I just want him to stop talking about it and just do it, right?
Thank
Be presidential and do it. We keep talking about it. I don't want to hear about a closed door meeting that you had with, Hispanic caucus or anyone else. I just want you to sign the executive order, follow through on your campaign promise, and get rid of the student debt. That's all I want.
Is
right
it
now.
that easy? That is the
I
question.
think it is.
Yeah,
I think it is
pen,
that.
right? That's all he needs is
But
a pen.
I think that is a figurative term when even
Right,
Senator
I mean,
Elizabeth
yes.
Warren says with the swipe of a pen, Joe Biden could wipe
Yeah.
out all student loan debt. I don't think that literally there's one piece of paper that he can swipe and sign that and all of it can disappear.
I would agree with you had I not seen Trump just sign with a swipe with his pen and do whatever
Yes,
he wanted to
11%.
do with the executive order.
Well, and I'll say this is something we talk about on a monthly basis, but if I'm not a betting man, but if I had to place a bet, I would say before the midterms, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
He's going to wipe out student loans, and it's going to be a good look for the Democratic
Yeah.
Party.
Yeah.
All right. White House senior advisor Cedric Richmond is leaving the White House, but he'll still be involved in trying to help Democrats keep control of Congress. Richmond will work for the Democratic National Committee. He says he will be working with the president to get more Democrats elected governor around the country. The former Louisiana congressman will have a challenging time. Democrats are expected to suffer losses in November's midterm elections.
And Derek Chauvin appealing his conviction in the murder of George Floyd. His attorney filed the appeal yesterday, arguing pre-trial publicity fueled negative opinions of Chauvin, which could have influenced jurors. It also says the city's settlement with Floyd's family during the trial may have influenced jurors and lists several examples of evidence and witnesses they say were unfair. Chauvin is serving a 22-year prison sentence.
Meanwhile, there will be no cameras in the courtroom for the state trial of three former Minneapolis police officers who are charged in the killing of George Floyd. Judge Peter Cahill, he says that current court rules do not authorize the district court to allow live streaming. The trial of Derek Chauvin was live streamed. Now, Cahill says the circumstances for Chauvin's trial, including COVID-19 restrictions, are very different now. 2 media members will be allowed each day in court, and there will also be overflow rooms for other media to be present, and also the general public can have access to those videos.
The Supreme Court is temporarily allowing an elite Virginia high school to keep its new admission policies that were geared toward diversifying its student body. The High Court's ruling Monday rejected a request for emergency relief from a group that says the Thomas Jefferson High School admissions policy hurts Asian American students. The school got rid of a standardized test as a criteria to the interest. They're also setting aside spots for the top 1.5% of students from each middle school in Alexandria. The new policy increased the white, black, and Latin student body, but the Asian student body at the school decreased from 73% to 54%. Many Asian students and parents in the area say the new policy is racially biased.
And the head of the NAACP wants to talk to Elon Musk about free speech on Twitter. Derek Johnson's request comes in response to Musk suggesting people who disapprove of his deal are afraid of free speech. Musk says he will make Twitter better than ever with very little regulation over free speech. Shortly after the purchase of Twitter, Johnson urged Musk to keep Donald Trump off the platform. Now, progressives, politicians, and human rights activists, they're worried that people with him buying the social media outlet, that people people are not going to be able to have free speech, as he says. Meanwhile, Republicans are praising the deal, citing freedom of speech. Black Twitter is very upset about this, and I think as they should be, because he keeps saying that he's going to make Twitter better, but the same rules never apply to us. And we can just look at the Second Amendment, right? The right to bear arms. That's kind of, it only works when you are a white person. When we pick up arms, they sort of change the law. So, the thing is, with free speech, it's going to be hard to kind of regulate it. I remember that Congress called in Zuckerberg to talk about the 2016 election and all the misinformation that was going on, that it was allowed to run rampant. And so we're just going to have all kinds of problems. And the other thing is with Tesla, they are, his black employees there, they are suing him for racial discrimination. Yeah. So if your black employees are suing you for racial discrimination, I don't understand how you expect everyone else to feel like we can feel comfortable with what you're going to do and bring to Twitter.
Well, I don't think he cares, but that is exactly where I was going with this, Mimi, is you have a CEO, owner of Tesla, like she's saying, that doesn't care about the black people in a much smaller space, right, with Tesla. So we have to have much lower expectations. Black Twitter, I'm speaking specifically to you, to us, much lower expectations on Twitter, because he does not care. Don't be surprised if Trump brings himself right back on Twitter. And so I just don't think that I love that the NAACP, that they're mentioning, like Derek Johnson, added him on Twitter and just like, hey, let's talk on Twitter Spaces and be transparent. But why are we putting so much into Elon Musk caring about Twitter? Like, I think that we're going to have to go on. Of course, I think that putting our foot on his neck and holding him accountable is important, but I just don't feel like he cares about what Black Twitter feels about.
Look, at the end of the day, we got to know what this is, right? This is social media. This is a base where people express their feelings. People are cowards, right? People hide behind what they're tweeting. So we as people have to get that thick skin and say, look, we know it's probably going to get worse, but how do we keep moving forward with it? That's the question.
And staying in line with this here, Derek Johnson, he does want to keep Trump off of Twitter, and Senator Susan Collins says that the former president should be allowed back on the social media platform. Collins questioned the platform allowing the Russian government to promote its lies about the Ukraine war. While it keeps Trump off the site, the former president was kicked off the site following the January 6th attacks on the Capitol. Collins says she does not agree with Trump's tweets.
As people debate whether Elon Musk should own Twitter, President Obama says social media is turbocharging some of humanity's worst impulses. The former President Obama addressed the state last week at an event at Stanford University. Obama says the way people consume and share misinformation is damaging democracy around the world. He also went on to say that social media has been one of the forces that has increased racial and religious divides.
And a former Virginia administrator says she was forced out of her job when she made a so-called slip of the tongue during a racial training exercise. Emily May is suing Abernacle County Public Schools, alleging white employees working there are in a no-win situation when they take part in racial equity training. During a session, May says she accidentally used the term colored people instead of saying people of color. May says she was also retaliated against when she questioned the anti-racist program designed for educators at her Charlottesville school. May says instead of promoting racial harmony, the program promotes racial division.
Georgia Governor Brian Kemp is expected to sign a bill that would ban books that are considered inappropriate for school children. The bill would require school boards to screen and remove books from libraries following a review of complaints by parents. The legislation is similar to those passed in other Republican-led states that are fighting against the teaching of critical race theory in schools. Democrats say the bill will overwhelm the textbook review process and hurt teachers as well as students.
The New York State Senate has passed a law that would allow adult survivors of sex crimes to hold their abusers accountable. The legislation would lift the statute of limitations for civil lawsuits against abusers of people who are now over 18. It would also allow them 1 year to take legal action against their abuser. Psychologists say this will help adult survivors of sexual abuse who often don't come to terms with their abuse when they're children.
A new Oklahoma state law has been signed that would make it illegal to use the term non-binary on state birth certificates. The governor of Oklahoma signed the bill into law yesterday. It's the first kind in the United States. The bill is a result of a state health department agreement following a civil lawsuit that allowed for the option of non-binary to be placed on a birth certificate. Currently, 15 states and the District of Columbia allow the use of non-binary or another term other than male or female to be placed on birth certificates.
A school district in Missouri has come under fire after social media users as well. They posted a math assignment that made reference to Maya Angelou's sexual abuse and her sex work. The image shows 2 algebra problems attached to a trivia question based on the later author's life. So the first question, it asked students to fill in the blank to the question, and it read, Maya Angelou was sexually abused by her mother's blank at age 8. So the second question, it says, trying to support her son as a single mother, she worked as a pimp, prostitute, and blank. So school officials, they say that the worksheets do not align with the department's beliefs or mission, and they are not a part of any approved curriculum. So yesterday we were talking about the story about one teacher thinking it was cheeky to have a cotton gin, to have,
Yes.
cotton and showed slavery back in the day. And I thought that was a piece of history that
She was discussing it.
exactly.
Right.
And so I thought that was okay to show children about slavery. This, however, completely crosses the line. This is not a piece of history that will help enlighten or make these children more smarter. This is nothing that you need in your later life. This is nothing that will make you less racist. This just completely crossed the line.
It's just very disrespectful to take a renowned poet, civil rights leader, and reduce them to sex worker or her sexual abuse. You know, it is just very disrespectful. And not only that, this is not the first time apparently this quiz has come up. It was used in 2017 in Pennsylvania, and it was used in 2015 in Florida. So you can go on this website, and teachers are making and selling these instructions.
Yeah.
You can buy it and then, use it for your classroom, which, again, is who made this? This is just very, very disrespectful.
There's a lot of bad information out there. Teacherspayteachers.com.
Yeah,
I believe
that's
the
it.
website, right? But if you're a teacher and you understand, right, you got a heat check of what's going on within our society, our country. If you run across this, first of all, I probably will report it. Second of all, I'm definitely not going to use it within my classroom.
Yeah.
So you know what? I just got to say, whoever those teachers are that use it during those times, it's a problem with them. And it's deeper than what it really is. The truth will come out.